What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are installing the Bilstein 6112 coilovers, reservoirs, or not reservoirs, coilovers, shocks, struts, whatever you want to call them. I call them more of a strut. Coilovers fully adjustable. This is semi-adjustable, I guess I'd say. As you can see, I got the driver's side done. I wanted to do one real quick before I got on video. It went exactly how I thought it was going to go, but I just wanted to make sure. I don't have my sway bar link hooked back up yet because the other side is still stock. So as you can see, I measured that center to center is 1.5 inch difference. So at full sag, I guess that's going to be the difference. And as you can see, this is all the way down. It used to be, somewhere in that area, but those are how they look. They're a lot thicker and beefier than the factory strut, which is right over here. Kind of give you guys a full size comparison here. There's your factory strut next to the Bilstein. I can completely wrap my hand around it and make my fingers touch this side. This one is far off. So I'll give you guys a quick rundown. To do this, you are going to need a pretty serious spring compressor, which I have. If you're doing this with the little ones you rent at the store, you can get this apart no problem with those. I'm sure you could. I didn't, but I'm sure you could. Getting the Bilstein together on the full height setting at 2.5 inch or 2 inch, depending on your model. Like I have mine all the way up because I wanted. If you guys measure, because I know I did, I measured my truck. It was almost 3 inches. It was like 2 3/4 of an inch, or 2 3/4 inch is, sorry, I don't know why I can't talk. 2 3/4 inches lower in the front than it was in the rear. So these claim 2.5 inch, raising them. So that's what I'm trying to do, is get it up 2.5 inches to level it out. I'm going to show you the process. It's honestly kind of scary even on something like this. You got to compress the Bilstein spring so far. I literally put a jacket over it because I was afraid it was going to just blow apart my spring compressor. So if you do not have a proper spring compressor like that, and you want to do these Bilsteins, or maybe an iBox, or one that you got to compress the spring like that, I would take the spring somewhere, or I would even take the whole job somewhere, like a shop like myself that knows what they're doing and can do it. Otherwise, you're just asking for a bad day. But one note I wanted to notate was taking these out prior to really taking it apart. You pop them out with an air hammer. You can probably beat them out with a regular hammer. You're not using them again, so you don't have to worry about the threads. Those are what actually hold it in there. You pop them out, because this is kind of a pain to get out with the studs up there, the studs down there, and the Bilsteins do not have studs, they have bolts. So right here is the bolt. So you put this in and then pop your bolt through. I can show you that. I ran my bolts from the bottom. I didn't read the instructions. I'm sure it tells you to run them from the bottom. So that way I don't have a bunch hanging out down here. There's just a nut now. But I'm gonna get back cracking on this. I'm gonna get it apart. I'll show you guys the process of taking the spring apart. All right, we're back roughly, 5-10 minutes later. I take the axle out. You probably don't have to, but I like to, just so I don't overextend it on accident. That's a 13mm nut that is behind this cap. Right there. You pop this cap off with a pair of pliers, put a 13mm on there, zip it off. That's off. I take off this bracket that holds the lines. That takes a 10mm. Obviously the ball joint stud, 18mm nut. Tie rod end, 18mm. If you are doing the sway bar link, 18mm. Or no, I'm sorry, that's a tie rod's a 21. And so is the sway bar link. The ball joint's an 18. And then you got those two, and then you got your 3 up here that are 13s. 18s, I'm sorry. I don't know why I just said 13s. 18s. And then once you get it off, you put it on your spring compressor. You can see mine's not set up yet. I gotta raise this front up a little bit. So right now it's set up for the bilstein shocks, or springs, whatever you want to call them. Other than that, everything should pretty much line up. And it does, it looks like. And this is how one of these spring compressors works. You just spin it. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. You spin that, pushes that down. Stock ones, you basically just got to get a little bit of tension on. Nothing crazy. About like that. All right, the shock tops, strut tops, whatever you want to call them. I hit them with a little coat of paint. Did the same thing with the last one. Just because they're starting to get a little, you know, little surface stuff going on. I got this in here. I'm gonna undo it a little bit and show you. So it's virtually loose now. It's got a little tension, not much. So you got to bring this thing down a lot, and I mean a lot, in order to get that strut in there. And I'm not even gonna bring it down to the full extent that it needs to go. Now I'm gonna slide the top on it, and it still has to go a little bit further. The spring's actually a little crooked, wasn't perfectly straight. But it's gonna have to go a little bit further to get the strut in there, and I will show you why. If you had it on a lower setting, that wouldn't be necessary. But being that I'm riding on the higher setting, you can see that barely is over that top rung right there. And that top rung only goes to the bottom of that, which has about another 2 inches until you make it out of the hole here. So that's what I mean by you got to really compress these things if you're running it on the highest setting. But I'm gonna let that dry for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna get this together. I'll be back with you guys. All right, there we go. Finished product. See the front tires are, see a lot more of the front end now. Here's the side view. You can see right there to right there. I'll get a better shot outside. I gotta take it to my buddy's shop to get aligned. But I'm gonna show you guys this. I measure, everyone does measuring from the ground. There's too many variables in that. The front of the truck's heavier, so the tire's gonna be squished down a little bit more up here. If you go from center of your wheel, like that, to there, we're at roughly 24 1/4. I know it's hard to see, but it's hard to do with one hand. And in the rear, we were at also about 24 1/4. So it's actually dead level, like dead level. Center there to the top of the fender, center there to the top of the quarter is 24 1/4. Front and rear, yes, I checked the other side already. It's too hard to do on camera, so I'm not gonna do it on camera. But it's perfectly level right now. It might settle a little bit, but I mean, at most it's gonna settle as 1/4 of an inch. So it might be hard to tell on camera. There's a slight slant in my shop too, because there's a drain there. But it's perfectly level. Looking at the truck, I mean, it is perfectly level. So I would highly recommend. I know a lot of the guys do the Bilstein 50, I don't know if they're 5100s or 5700s, something like that. Whatever the number is, I can't remember the number. Those are cheaper. I went with the 6112s. They are beefier. I mean, you can just see that thing. It's a thick shock. A little bit beefier. I will say I just drove it around the block real quick. It's definitely a stiffer ride than factory. However, it didn't feel ridiculous. Doesn't feel like an off-road truck or something. It just a little bit stiffer, which in my opinion is better because this thing had a lot of body roll and I didn't like it. But I will get it aligned. I'll get you guys a video and photo outside, and maybe I'll do a video driving it too, let you know how it feels. Thanks. There's the finished product, all aligned, and how it looks. A good sunny view. I'm not sure that's good for the camera or not, but it came out looking phenomenal in my opinion. It's perfectly level. Front end definitely looks a lot more aggressive, a lot higher off the ground. I couldn't be happier with it, other than a set of wheels and tires, which that'll be coming next. And then I'm also looking at the Corsa Sport exhaust and doing the trimmer rear bumper caps. So maybe you'll see that next video within a couple of weeks. Trimmer bumper caps, Corsa exhaust, and then a set of wheels and tires. But there it is. If you have any questions, feel free to post a comment. I'll answer you. See you guys later.